Have you noticed that conflict is inevitable? And conflict really isn't the problem, is it? It's how we deal with it, whether we deal with it or not. So today I'd like to share with you a framework, 4 questions to ask that can help you to resolve conflict, and more importantly, to help you maintain a sense of peace and joy within you and not get sucked into the drama that's all around us. So first, a little context. It's become a little bit crazy, would you agree? All the anger, all the hate, all the vitriol, and what's happened to having a good, honest, intelligent discussion? It's okay that we have different points of view. It seems though today that, God forbid you have a different point of view, you're isolated, you're estranged. We hear some of these wild and crazy stories of families breaking up over politics, differences, opinions. We hear of friends breaking up or disassociating from each other because of politics. Maybe I'm naive, but it just makes no sense to me. Absolutely no sense. In our community, I heard from a friend how a family was invited to a wedding, and because of differences in politics, and this is close family, they said no thanks, they're not coming, and none of their children, none of the cousins, because of differences in politics. Makes no sense. If we are truly committed to resolving problems, to creating solutions for reform, then it's time to stop pointing the finger. Because quite frankly, in my opinion, anybody can complain. Anybody can tell you what's wrong. Have you noticed? It takes a lot of creativity. It takes intelligence to come up with solutions, ideas, a different perspective, which is okay. That's what makes the world go round, isn't it? With that. When we complain, and that's all we do, the danger is we begin to wallow in it. And if we wallow in it, the old adage is, whatever you give attention to, you give energy to. And whatever you give energy to will grow and multiply. And when that happens, there's no good communication. There's no deep discussion. People become defensive. And then it becomes the blame game. Who's right? Who's wrong? And we see this all too often going on almost all fronts. So what can you do about it? What can I do about it? So this 4-step framework of questions, I hope will help you. I've been teaching it for decades to my Silva Method students, to my coach clients, and I've even been invited from different organizations like the Lifebook community to share this. It's simple, maybe even common sense, and yet so powerful when you take it to heart and actually apply it in the principle. So for example, it could be a relationship, someone you dearly love, someone you care about. And sure, there's behavior that's unacceptable. There are things we don't agree with. There are, of course. But the first question is, can we change them? Ask yourself that. Please write this down. Can you change them? The real question is, do you even have a right to change them? Many psychologists would say that that's unsolicited advice when we try to change somebody, and some might even suggest it's somewhat, depending on the dynamics of the relationship, abusive. But it's certainly not heard. And people become defensive. They put up a wall, so to speak, and then nothing gets communicated, nothing changes, and maybe even resentments are built up. This could be a professional relationship, this could be at work. Have you ever worked with someone, a coworker, a boss, a supervisor, and you only hear from them when there's something wrong that they're not happy with, and they're only there to tell you what you're doing wrong? It's a horrible feeling. And too often, human nature being what it is, people become passive aggressive, and they say, well, you're going to keep complaining, I'll show you. Think about it with that. There is great value in praising more and complaining less. So to go back to this question, in essence, can we really change this person or this individual? Do we have the right? I think it's safe to say the answer is what? No. Second question to ask yourself is when facing any kind of conflict, difference of opinion, and yes, let's do acknowledge, identify problems, unacceptable behavior, something that's not working, but not ruminate on it, not complain about it, not get angry about it, because if that's what we do, anger just creates more anger. And when we do that, we flood the body with stress hormones. And when we flood the body with stress hormones, we don't think clearly. We lose focus. We cut ourselves off to higher thinking functions. We cut ourselves to that inner wisdom for innovative ideas. So the second question is, can I help them? Similar, isn't it? Well, it depends, doesn't it? Do you have the skill set? Do you have the knowledge? Do you have the wisdom? Do you have an answer or solution for them? And more importantly, do they want your help? So if somebody asks for help and turns to you as a friend, as a coworker, in any capacity and says, I'm struggling, I'm hurting here, I need some help, well, that of course opens the door. Then we can step in and offer. And I'm speaking from advice. We have 4 children. And I can't tell how many times, because it's in my nature to want to solve problems. It's in my nature. For over 53 years, I've been working with the Silva Method, traveling the world, helping people to take command of their lives, helping people to create healthier, happier, more fulfilling lives. So when there's somebody close to me, like my children, who might be having a difficulty, a challenge, maybe even suffering, let alone a friend, a family member, I have found it very difficult to keep my mouth closed. My wife Barbara has often, under the table, no joke, kicked me because I'm offering advice or tips when they haven't asked for it. And the experience has often been they don't want to hear it, they close down, even though it might be good advice, even though it might work. So can you really help somebody? Depends. And only if they want the help and they ask for the help. So it's really kind of a sketchy situation. Third question in this 4 questions to ask yourself is, can I live with it? So if you find yourself in a relationship, it could be a friendship, it could be with a significant other, it could be with your spouse, hopefully it's not, and things are just becoming out of control, out of hand. So much unacceptable behavior. Perhaps the person is belittling you, has nothing good to say, only tells you what they don't like about you. Is maybe even narcissistic or exhibiting narcissistic behavior and self-absorbed. Or perhaps you're working in a situation, an environment, and you've got coworkers who seem to want you to fail, and they do everything they can to help you to fail. They're not in your corner, they haven't got your back. Hopefully you're not, but some people, I've coached many a Silva Method student who unfortunately have found themselves in toxic work environments. It could be your neighborhood, your community, an organization you belong to. The question is to ask, and these are just not light questions, these are questions to think about, to reflect on, to close your eyes, breathe slowly and deeply, and dig deep. Can I live with this? And if the answer is no, then the question then becomes, what can I do about it? What can I change it? What can I do for me? So can I live with it? I don't mean to minimize that. That's not always an easy question to ask. However, it's very important. It's necessary. If you want to feel peaceful, if you want to feel more joy in your life, if you want to feel more harmonious, because when you're in a harmonious, joyful state, you're more likely to manifest, to co-create a more fulfilling life. You're more likely to have innovative ideas. You're more likely to have positive synchronicities that help you to make progress. But if we are feeling pressured, feeling angry, feeling upset, feeling belittled, feeling taken advantage of, feeling, I'm losing the words for it because it's not even fun to bring it up. Maybe feeling disrespected was what I was searching for. You got to ask again, can I live with this? So maybe you need to have a conversation with that person. Maybe you need to ask for help, therapeutically speaking, get a mediator or somebody who's objective and sit down and say, honey, I care for you deeply. I love you. I want us to work. I want to keep our family together. What's going on, though, is not working. It's not working for me. And I'm finding it harder and harder to be with you. If it's a work situation, to work here. Yeah, I know. So, but this is the boss. Well, what about a conversation with the boss that says, I want to give you my best. I want to be more productive. I want to do an outstanding job. And when all I hear from you is what's wrong, that doesn't help. Can you find some things to help me? What am I doing that you like? What am I doing that you would like me to do more of? Again, it's delicate. It can be done, though. The fourth and last question, which is probably the most practical, the surefire question to ask, that no question about it, it's the sole determinant of our success. It's the one thing that you and I have absolute control of. What can I do for me to make this work? What steps can I take? How can I turn this around? Formulate your own question, but the essence of it is, this is what I'm going through. I've identified a problem. I've identified a challenge. It's affecting me emotionally. I'm not at my best. I'm struggling to even want to go to work or to be here, whatever it might be. Now, what can I do to turn this around? What steps can I take? And there's no quick fix answer. There are many possibilities. And there's no shame in asking for help. It's kind of unfortunate how sometimes people are embarrassed. I know I used to be like that, embarrassed to ask for help. It's okay to say, hey, I'm struggling. I don't know what to do here. Can you help? Have you got any thoughts? So my friends, the 4 questions, write them down, apply them. And this framework would be number 1, when you're dealing with other people and there's conflict, can I change them? Good luck, right? Good luck. And it's not really our responsibility either. Question number 2 is, can I help them? Well, that's, again, like I said earlier, a tricky question. Do they want the help? Are they asking for the help? Do you have the skill set, the knowledge, the resources to actually help? The 3rd question, can I live with this? It's a more serious question. Excuse me for being so serious. I don't mean to be. Those of you who've gone through the Silva immersion with me, we spent 4 days, and I think you'd agree, it's a lot of fun. It's important, it's meaningful fun, it's transformative. Oh my God, it's so transformative. It's such a joy for me to do that. And yet, I'm a great believer. Let's do good. Let's make a difference. Let's contribute the best we can. And have fun while we're doing it, and of course, thrive. So, can I live with this? If the answer is no, then what can I do about it? What steps can you take? Ask for help. And the 4th question is, what can I do most practical for me to change me? What can I do to improve my life? What skills can I learn to help me navigate with more grace, navigate life with more grace, more ease, to be in flow? Very important. And to take it, a little more seriously in our lives. It's interesting, in the Silva Method, since 1966, I'm the senior most instructor. I'm the guy that Jose Silva selected to travel the world and deliver advanced programs and to work with instructors. Since the early 1980s, I've been on the staff to help certify and train new instructors. Now, in the more recent decade, I've been the training director. However, I say this because one of the things that keeps me going is the vision we have. I believe we're all in this together. And it's up to each of us to just do our best. It's up to each of us to be a little bit kinder, a little bit more respectful, a little bit more generous. In fact, an affirmation, a declaration that we use all throughout the Silva training, throughout the whole 40 hours of the training is, we will continue to strive, something like this. We will continue to strive to take part in constructive and creative activities to help make this a better world to live in, so that when we move on, when you move on, when I move on, we have left behind a better world for those that follow. I love it. I live by that principle. In our community, we invite everybody to subscribe to that as a philosophy in their life. And can you imagine the possibilities? Living in a community like that, living in a nation like that, living in a world like that. I know we're kind of far from that, but in our own respective ways, we are. It's one of the things I love about the Silva community, is that some of the most wonderful people, caring people out there making a difference in their respective community. So my friends, remember, you are far more than what you think. You have innate genius-like capabilities, infinite possibilities. And that's very accurate when you have the skills, when you get the training, the right training, and when you what? Apply it, implement it. It's one thing to know something, to have the skills. It's another thing to actually use it. Thank you for listening. If you find this helpful, please share it with others. If you find this helpful and you'd like to be on top of videos as I release new training videos, please do subscribe to my YouTube channel. And until the next time.